Charles Schwab was one of the richest people in the world at the beginning of the last century. But not because he inherited it, but because as a lowly employee, he gradually climbed the career ladder until he became president of Bethlehem Steel, the world's second largest steel producer. But who is satisfied with second place? Schwab therefore wanted to motivate his employees to perform even better, not by working longer hours, but by being more productive. His goal was to get twice as much done in half the time. But without outside help, it was unattainable. So Schwab arranged a meeting with management consultant Ivy Lee, and he said he could help them. Lee said it would take him only 15 minutes with each of his executives. When asked how much it would cost, Lee replied, "Nothing at all. We'll meet again in 3 months and they'll pay me whatever they think is appropriate." Remarkably, Lee is betting that he will receive more money than he could ever have expected for his services. 3 months later, the two meet again and Schwab presents Ivy Lee with a check for $25,000. The steel contractor later said it was the best and most profitable lesson of his life. The enthusiasm is also reflected in the pay, which was unimaginably high by the standards of the time and seems hard to explain when measured against the hours worked, but for Schwab it was worth every dollar. And what was it exactly that made Ivy Lee so convincing? The positive effects were obvious, but there is nothing complicated about the Ivy Lee method. All it takes is a pen, paper, and a few minutes of your time. So it's no wonder that the productivity expert needed just 15 minutes to explain the method. The whole thing can be understood and learned in just a few steps. Step number 1, write down 6 tasks for the next day. What is coming up for you the next day, what projects are lined up, and what tasks need to be done. Step number 2, put these tasks in order of priority. In the second step of the Ivy Lee method, take a close look at your to-do list and assign a number to each to-do, corresponding to the priority of the task. Then put the tasks in the appropriate order so that the most important task with the number 1 is at the top. Complete the first task on the list. The working day, according to Ivy Lee method, starts, as you would expect, with the task that has the highest priority. And do it without distractions. No checking emails on the side, and no, "I'll get something else done." Focus completely on the most important task until it is truly completed. Step number 4. Check the priorities again. Before you start on the second task, take the list again and check whether the priorities are still correct. Maybe something new has come up that needs to be done urgently, or a task is no longer so important after all. Check the priorities again for correctness and adjust the order if necessary. Step number 5. Move on to the next task. Are the priorities still correct, or have they been put in the right order? Then move on to the second task. Use this method to work your way through the day until the end of the day. Complete one task, check priorities, continue. In the evening, make a new list. As the work day draws to a close, complete the current task and prepare the same process for the next day. Meaning, create another list with the 6 most important tasks, including the ones left over from today's list that are still relevant. The benefits of the Ivy Lee method. There are numerous tips and methods that can be used to increase productivity, work more effectively and better, a desire of many employees and, of course, supervisors. But what makes the Ivy Lee method so special and literally worth $25,000? It's hard to pin it down to a single point, but one thing is certain. The method offers a whole range of advantages that make it worth trying out Ivy Lee's suggestion at least once to find out whether your own work will benefit from it. The most important advantages are focus, priority, efficiency, organization, and motivation. This method sounds very simple, but Does it really work because of that? Yes, exactly, and for good reasons. It is simple to use. Simplicity is perhaps the strongest reason that the Ivy Lee method works. It is practical. Anyone can use it. Most importantly, maintain it without having to force themselves into strenuous or time-consuming procedures. It creates clarity. Many methods want to explain how you can complete many or, if possible, all tasks in a given time. The Ivy Lee method is different. It is not about completing all the items on the list, but understanding what is really important and needs to be done. It makes it easier to get started on a daily basis. A major obstacle to productivity for many employees is starting the day. First make coffee, read emails, set up at the desk, and see what needs to be done. It usually takes some time before things really get going, but thanks to the Ivy Lee method, you already know the night before what needs to be done the next day. And so you can start right away. Why don't you try it out for yourself? With that being said, this video comes to an end. It would be great if you could give this video a thumbs up, and if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment.